Rotor 1 County. Rotor 1 County, I'm heading back for fuel. Rotor 1 County, I'm heading back to base. Rotor 1 County, I'm heading back to the heliport. Rotor 1 County, I'm heading back to the helipad. Rotor 1 County, heavy rain ahead, limited visibility, I'll be breaking off. Rotor 1 County, heavy rain ahead, looks like zero visibility for me, I'll be breaking off. Rotor 1 County, dust storm ahead, looks like zero visibility for me, I'll be breaking off. Rotor 1 County, I can't see through this dust storm, returning to base. Rotor 1 County, electrical storm ahead, multiple strikes to the ground, I'll be heading home. Rotor 1 County, report of an electrical storm with lots of lightning, returning to ground. Rotor 1 County, there is a funnel cloud forming ahead, I'm out of here. Rotor 1 County, there is a funnel cloud ahead, expect hail, I'm breaking off. Rotor 1 County, there is a funnel cloud ahead, looks like a twister, I'm breaking off. Rotor 1 County, storm clouds rolling in, looks like high winds ahead, I'm returning to base. Rotor 1 County, looks like some serious storm clouds in the area, I'm returning home. Rotor 1 County, subject is lit, subject is lit. Rotor 1 County, he's trying to go to ground, I'm gonna light him up. Rotor 1 County, I've got him lit. Rotor 1 County, I've got him on infrared now. Rotor 1 County, I've got the subject on infrared. Rotor 1 County, we're gonna need additional units. Rotor 1 County, it looks like we'll need more units out here. Rotor 1 County, he's coming up on your location. Rotor 1 County, he's bailing out. Rotor 1 County, he's not stopping. Rotor 1 County, he's outrunning the patrol units. Rotor 1 County, he's trying to go to ground. I'm gonna light him up. Rotor 1 County, I've got him lit. Rotor 1 County, I've got him on infrared now. Rotor 1 County, I've got the subject on infrared. Rotor 1 County, he's really moving down there. Rotor 1 County, subject is lit. Subject is lit. Rotor 1 County, the subject is not slowing down. Rotor 1 County, the subject's just turned off his headlights. Rotor 1 County, there are multiple subjects traveling at high speeds. Rotor 1 County, there are multiple subjects traveling at high speeds. Rotor 1 County, looks like they're racing. Rotor 1 County, I've reacquired the subject. Rotor 1 County, I've got him. Rotor 1 County, I've picked him up again. Rotor 1 County, I've lost him. He's gone to ground. Rotor 1 County, I've lost visual contact with the subject. Rotor 1 County, I'm in the fog, breaking off contact on the subject. Rotor 1 County, I'm in the fog. I have no visual contact with the subject. Rotor 1 County, I'm discontinuing pursuit. Too many obstacles in the air. Rotor 1 County, road narrows ahead due to avalanche. Rotor 1 County, road narrows ahead due to landslide. Rotor 1 County, road narrows ahead due to mudslide. Rotor 1 County, he just hit me. I'm going after him. Rotor 1 County, a vehicle just hit me. I'm after him. Rotor 1 County, I just hit a vehicle. I am attempting to get him off the road. Rotor 1 County, that guy just hit me. Rotor 1 County, I just dropped a spike strip. Rotor 1 County, he missed the spike strip. Rotor 1 County, he avoided the spike strip. Rotor 1 County, the vehicle missed the spike strip. Rotor 1 County, the suspect avoided the spike strip. Rotor 1 County, traffic collision ahead, roadway blocked. Rotor 1 County, looks like an accident up ahead, be careful. Rotor 1 County, wildlife on the road ahead. Rotor 1 County, wildlife on the roadway ahead. Rotor 1 County, looks like the Wild Kingdom up ahead. We have animals in the road. Rotor 1 County, construction zone ahead, roadway blocked. Rotor 1 County, construction zone ahead, roadway narrows. Rotor 1 County, be advised there's road construction in the area. Rotor 1 County, roadway dead ends to road construction ahead. Rotor 1 County, use caution, road narrows due to road construction. Rotor 1 County, looks like thunderclouds ahead. Rotor 1 County, vehicle fire ahead. Rotor 1 County, burning vehicle ahead. Rotor 1 County, brush fire ahead on both sides of the road. Rotor 1 County, brush fire ahead on both sides of the road. Rotor 1 County, forest fire ahead, use extreme caution. Rotor 1 County, ambulance ahead. Rotor 1 County, ambulance left side. Rotor 1 County, ambulance left shoulder. Rotor 1 County, ambulance right side. Rotor 1 County, ambulance right shoulder. Rotor 1 County, traffic congestion ahead in both lanes. Rotor 1 County, be advised of traffic congestion in the area. Rotor 1 County, traffic up ahead in both lanes. Rotor 1 County, traffic congestion ahead in left lane. Rotor 1 County, we've got a traffic jam coming up on the left. Rotor 1 County, traffic congestion ahead in right lane. Rotor 1 County, we've got a traffic jam coming up on the right. Rotor 1 County, disabled vehicle ahead. Rotor 1 County, abandoned vehicle in the road up ahead. Rotor 1 County, disabled vehicle left side. Rotor 1 County, disabled vehicle left shoulder. Rotor 1 County, disabled vehicle right side. Rotor 1 County, disabled vehicle right shoulder. Rotor 1 County, there is a disabled vehicle ahead in the right lane. Rotor 1 County, emergency vehicles ahead. Rotor 1 County, emergency vehicles left side. Rotor 1 County, emergency vehicles left shoulder. Rotor 1 County, emergency vehicles right side. Rotor 1 County, emergency vehicles right shoulder. Rotor 1 County, flood waters over the roadway. Rotor 1 County, fire truck ahead. Rotor 1 County, fire truck left side. Rotor 1 County, fire truck left shoulder. Rotor 1 County, fire truck right side. Rotor 1 County, fire truck right shoulder. Rotor 1 County, livestock ahead, left side of the road. Rotor 1 County, livestock ahead alongside the road, left shoulder. Rotor 1 County, livestock ahead, right side of the road. Rotor 1 County, livestock ahead alongside the road, right shoulder. Rotor 1 County, be advised of an obstruction in the roadway. Rotor 1 County, looks like some kind of obstruction up ahead. Rotor 1 County, this pursuit is approaching a school zone. Rotor 1 County, train blocking a roadway up ahead. Rotor 1 County, railroad crossing ahead and there is a train approaching. Rotor 1 County, tow truck ahead on the shoulder. Rotor 1 County, be advised of a tow truck up ahead. Approaching the abandoned warehouse. Approaching the airport. Approaching the Alpine Park. Approaching the Arboretum. Approaching the arena. Approaching the banyan tree. Approaching the barn. Approaching the baseball field. Approaching the bay. Approaching the beach boardwalk. Approaching the beach. Approaching the bell towers. Approaching the big drop. Approaching the billboard. Approaching the boardwalk. Approaching the boulder turnout. Approaching the brick archway. Approaching the bridge. Approaching the cabin. Approaching the cactus grove. Approaching the campground. Approaching the canal. Approaching the canopies. Approaching the canyons. Approaching the car dealership. Approaching the cargo ship. Approaching the carnival. Approaching the casino. Approaching the cathedral. Approaching the cavern. Approaching the cemetery. Approaching the church. Approaching the circus. Approaching the city hall. Approaching City Hall. Approaching the Cliffside Bridge. Approaching the Cliffside Caves. Approaching the Clock Tower. Approaching the Coliseum. Approaching the condemned bridge. Approaching the control tower. Approaching the corral. Approaching the courthouse. Approaching the covered bridge. Approaching the creek. Approaching the dam. Approaching the drawbridge. Approaching the dusty road. Approaching the estuary. Approaching the fairgrounds. Approaching the fallen log. Approaching the falls. Approaching the farm. Approaching the floating bridge. Approaching the football field. Approaching the footbridge. Approaching the geyser. Approaching the giant cross. Approaching the gold mine. Approaching the grain silo. Approaching the graveyard. Approaching the greenhouse. Approaching the guard tower. Approaching the gymnasium. Approaching the hairpin. Approaching the harbor. Approaching the hot dog stand. Approaching the hotel. Approaching the hot springs. Approaching the ice arena. Approaching the ice rink. Approaching the industrial district. Approaching the jungle. Approaching the lagoon. Approaching the lake. Approaching the large bridge. Approaching the large tunnel. Approaching the levee. Approaching the library. Approaching the lifeguard headquarters. Approaching the lighthouse. Approaching the lock. Approaching the lookout. Approaching the lumber mill. Approaching Main Street. Approaching the mall. Approaching the marina. Approaching the mausoleum. Approaching the medians. Approaching the mine. Approaching the monastery. Approaching the monument. Approaching the Moose Lodge. Approaching the motel. Approaching the mountain rescue station. Approaching the mud flats. Approaching the museum. Approaching the national park. Approaching the nursery. Approaching the oil tanker. Approaching the old mansion. Approaching the old oak tree. Approaching the orange grove. Approaching the orchard. Approaching the overpass. Approaching Palm Tree Lane. Approaching the park entrance. Approaching the parking garage. Approaching the parking lot. Approaching the pavilion. Approaching the picket fence. Approaching the pier. Approaching the planetarium. Approaching the plantation. Approaching the playground. Approaching the police station. Approaching the pond. Approaching the prison. Approaching the private runway. Approaching the promenade. Approaching the pub. Approaching the quarry. Approaching the radio tower. Approaching the ranger station. Approaching the rapids. Approaching the resort. Approaching the rest stop. Approaching the riverboat. Approaching the river. Approaching the rock arch. Approaching the rock quarry. Approaching the rose garden. Approaching the ruins. Approaching the S-curves. Approaching the saloon. Approaching the salt flats. Approaching the sand quarry. Approaching the scary mansion. Approaching the school. Approaching the slaughterhouse. Approaching the soccer field. Approaching the stables. Approaching the stadium. Approaching the stone arches. Approaching the stream. Approaching the supermarket. Approaching the swamp. Approaching the swing bridge. Approaching the tavern. Approaching the tennis courts. Approaching the tidal basin. Approaching the tide flats. Approaching the toll booth. Approaching the toll bridge. Approaching the tower. Approaching the town center. Approaching the town square. Approaching the train crossing. Approaching the train depot. Approaching the train station. Approaching the tree tunnel. Approaching the truck stop. Approaching the tunnel. Approaching the twin bridges. Approaching the used car dealership. Approaching the viaduct. Approaching the village. Approaching the vineyards. Approaching the vista point. Approaching the volcano. Approaching the warehouse district. Approaching the wasteway. Approaching the watchtower. Approaching the waterfall. Approaching the way station. Approaching the weir. Approaching the well. Approaching the white cliffs. Approaching the whitewater rapids. Approaching the woods. Approaching the Y camp.